in the ring and lose, then I'm cool with that. Because guess what? You can't appreciate winning if you ain't never lost before. Everybody want to talk about being up, oh, I'm up, I'm leveling up, I'm trying to be up and all this other shit. But being up feels way much better if you know what it feels like to be down. That's the difference, my nigga. You gotta lose to win. You understand? You step in that ring, you fall, wipe yourself back up, do it again. I'm not afraid to be bloody. This is Job 5 and 17 and 18. Behold, happy is the man whom the Most High correcteth. Therefore, despise thou not thou the chastening of the Almighty. For he maketh sore, and bindeth up, he woundeth, and his hands make whole. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Brakak Vadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of Ruel. Peace and salutation to the elect, and much respect to the brothers pushing his word in the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you few sincere sisters out there as well. This is Brother Arahyah coming at you with another lesson. I know I sound different, you know. This is a testimony. I know I've been going for a minute, and I've been putting lessons out, nothing like that. But I had a severe stroke, and that's why I sound crazy right now. But, you know, the brother said I can do a lesson, so, you know, I'm doing a lesson now. And Lord willing, you guys can understand what I'm saying. I try to go slow, you know. But, yeah, the Lord put me through that, man. He gave me a severe stroke. And a quick synopsis, I was on my way to work, and the Lord had someone blocking me in the driveway so I could get in the car and leave, because it would have been much worse if I was driving. So, you know, with my anger and all, I was mad because it was in the way, and I called the lady I work for and told her I'd be late, and I turned around, and boom, I had a stroke, man. I called for my girl to come help me, and she did. That's the last words I spoke for a minute. And I was good during the ambulance ride there. They tried to cut like my jacket and all that. I told them, nah, don't cut it. They like to cut stuff, you know what I mean? You know how they do. I told them, nah, don't cut my stuff. That's the last thing I remember. And then when I got to the hospital, you know, I died 3 times. They had to revive me 3 times. And, you know, that's a spiritual number. 3. That's understanding. And what's so deep about it is because I understand why the Lord did that to me. You know, I remember praying to the Lord, asking him for patience, right? And that's what he did. He put me in the hospital with a stroke so I could learn how to be patient, man. You know, I could no longer be out and about doing what I want, you know, doing what I do, whatever, moving around. I couldn't do that no more. I was confined to a bed, man. I had to depend on other people to do things for me now. I couldn't even get up and go to the bathroom, man. You know, I went 28 days without food. I couldn't eat because I couldn't swallow nothing. So even though they gave me food through the IV and drink through the IV, I felt like I was getting nothing. I felt like I was starving. Like I was, you know, didn't have nothing to drink, nothing. I was going through it, man. And the brothers held me down like every day. I was there. The brothers, they ain't come every day, but they came a lot. To hold me down, the brothers kept my sword sharpened. And they gave me good words, man, to keep on fighting and keep pushing, you know. And the brothers, you know, they saw me, so they know I went through it, man. They tell me all the time how strong I was for going through that, even though it's all the strength and the power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, they always told me, they was proud of me, man, because I didn't give up. I didn't turn my back on the Lord. I didn't start blaming the Lord and none of that. Most men probably would start blaming the Lord for being in that or being put in that position, but I didn't do that. I know the Lord did it for a reason, and every day I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling and fighting, learning how to talk again, talk, correctly, and learn how to walk again. I have to learn how to walk again too, because my whole right side uh it's numb. At first it was paralyzed, but then the Lord said nah, so He made it numb, but I can walk and I can learn how to walk and all that. So, all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai for that, because he could have put me in a bad position. I was around people that had strokes, and they were way worse off than I was. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't move. They were paralyzed. Some couldn't see. You know, they were shitting on themselves. Salaki for the for the language, but they were using the bathroom on themselves and all that. Man, they couldn't eat on their own. They couldn't get dressed. I could do all that still. I could get dressed on my own. I could eat on my own. You know, I can clean myself. All that, but they couldn't do none of that. So the Lord definitely blessed me, man. He even though I went through this, but still, man, all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because the Lord could have called me back to the spiritual realm. I did. I died 3 times, but He brought me back. I'm here for a reason. So, after a stroke, you become a different person, man. I'm not the same person I was. I'm different now. It changes you. And hopefully it changed me for the better. But yeah, I mean, I went through a lot, man. So like the apostles tell us about our health and all that, man. That's very important, man. Any brother out there listening, get your blood pressure checked, man. Make sure that you're good, man. You know what I'm saying? That salt will take you out. The salt almost took me out. My pressure, mine was like 225, man. That's how high my pressure was, bro. When I had a stroke, 225. So just check yourself. Make sure you're good, brother. Don't be like me, man. Please. I don't want to see no brother go through what I went through. Because it wasn't easy. Not to say that a brother couldn't go through it and like I did. I'm not saying that, but I would hate to see another brother go through that, man. So, just come from me as a man. Just, take care of yourself. So you ain't got to go through what I went through. But I'm going to read a couple of scriptures and that'll probably be it. Because I know you're like, damn, what the hell are you saying? I can't understand them. So let me just get through this, man. Make it edifying. Lord willing, it is edifying. Same thing in Proverbs 3 and 11. Says pretty much the same thing. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of His correction. Okay? So the Lord definitely chastised me. But, I don't feel no type of way about that. I could have did something in my former life I don't know about. You know what I'm saying? Or I could have did something that offended the Lord. Either way, I'm scared to death now. Before I was scared, but now I'm scared to death. I don't want no problems, because that came out of nowhere. Just boom. It was scary, man. It really was. I was seeing demons. I was having vivid dreams. The Lord had it to where He showed me how evil these people are in the hospitals, man. Doing demonic seances and all that. I was having all types of dreams, man. Of being being tortured and all that, man. being tortured, and they having their seances, like I said, and they were just dreams, but I was seeing a lot of stuff, and in those dreams, the nurses that were taking care of me, in those dreams, they were trying to kill me. So when I came to, they tried to change my IV or do something for me. I'd be fighting them. I'd fight them off to the point where they had to tie me to the bed so I wouldn't hit one of them or try to. But, it was just a dream. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was a prophetic dream, but still don't know it was a dream. And I felt kind of bad about that, but that's what it was. I feel like the Lord was showing me how wicked they are behind the scenes, man. The witches and warlocks that work in the hospitals. But anyway, let me go here. I did Proverbs 3, so give me a second. Give me a second, please. Bear with me. We'll go to Hebrews 12 and 6 real quick. I thought about this scripture a lot while I was laying up in that bed, man. Not able to move or do nothing, just staring at the ceilings. The brothers come in and catch me just staring at the ceiling sometimes, man. Because at first, I couldn't see nothing. The Lord took my vision. I couldn't read. I couldn't see nothing, bro. And eventually, the Lord gave me my vision back, to where I could see. I could read. I could study now and all that. But before, I couldn't see anything, really. Everything was a blur. But Hebrews 12 and 6, and I read 6 through 8. And it says, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. Okay, and I thought about that, man. I thought about that a lot. Because at first I'm like, damn, maybe the Lord don't want me because he did this to me. But, reading this lets me know, that, the Lord chastens me for a reason. He chastised me. So, those he doesn't chastise are like bastards. So I got to be one of his sons, man, because the Lord put me through it, because he knew I could handle it. The Lord will not put anyone through anything they can't handle, So that was chastisement from the Lord. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as sons. For what son is whom the Father chastises not? Right? So the Lord chastised his own son, Yahweh Shai. Look what Yahweh Shai went through, And I'm not trying to compare me and Yahweh Shai at all, but the Lord likes to chastise his men to see what type of man you are, to see what you're made of, man. Because the Lord don't want no weaklings. He don't want no chumps. He don't want that around him, man. He wants men. That's what the Lord deals with. He deals with men. And just because we're in this truth does not mean that the Lord is not going to come see you. The Lord may chastise you in many different ways, man. I'm really speaking to those that are watching and listening, still learning. Because the brothers in the truth know what it is, man. They know what they're part of. Okay, so, it can come at any time, man. The Lord can chasten us. Okay? And it says, but if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then ye are bastards and not sons. So, reading that, or thinking about that rather in the hospital, man. I was thankful that the Lord chastised me, man. I'm thankful, even though it's a hard road. How to get back to me is tough. You know what I'm saying? To have to sit up in a bed all day, and wait on someone to come help me, and I can't do it for myself. But I came a long way through the Lord, through the power of the Lord. I came a long way, and a lot of the doctors and nurses there would give me praises and all that, calling me man of steel and all this stupidness, but none of them made mention of the Lord, not one of them. And every time they would tell me that, I would say within myself, to myself, that I'm giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's what I gave praises to, because it's His work. You know, all the glory goes to Him, not to me. That's what I was saying to myself. These motherfuckers, I'm sorry for cursing. These people talking about this and that. I don't want to hear that, man. It just shows you that a lot of people are believe in man more than they believe in the Lord, man. They believe more in the creature more than the creator. You know? That became very, very much prevalent to me when I was gonna say locked up. When I was in the hospital. It felt like I was in jail though. For it really did. Um let's get this real quick. I'm not gonna be too much longer. Give me a second. I'll be out your head. Let me get Psalms 4:22 real quick. Matter of fact, sorry about that. We'll get this here. Cause I thought about this chapter a lot when I went through, man. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 2. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. And cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Whatsoever. It don't matter what the Lord puts you through, because the time is coming where we're gonna be tested, man. So I'm thinking to myself like, I'm going through this, and then I know that when all hell breaks loose, I'm gonna have to go through something else, you know. But that's just what it is, When you come into this truth, man, it's not gonna be easy, man. The things that happen to us are meant to harden us, make us stronger, man, not weaker, mentally before physically, to make your mind strong, man. Because you're going to have a strong mind to get through what's coming very soon on the earth, man. It's going to get real bad out here. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take carefully and be patient when thou art changed to the lowest state. Now, I was changed to the lowest estate in my life, and I might be brought even lower later on down the line, which is cool, It's cool because one thing about me is if whatever's brought to me, I'll just take it. I deal with it accordingly. I just deal with it. Just roll with the punches, man. And yeah. Don't make haste in time of trouble, man. Be patient. That be patient part, we gotta be patient too. When we out, if we out in the wilderness or wherever we at, we gonna have to be patient and wait for a miracle, man. The Lord is gonna perform many miracles in these last days, and we gonna be able to see it. We gonna see the miracles of the Lord, man. But being patient is very important. Having faith, of course, is number one. But if you can't be patient, then what faith do you have? You have no faith. You gotta be patient, man. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. All right. Let me get Psalms 44 real quick. I'm sorry. I'll end it fast because I feel like I'm sounding crazy right now, but I'll do a lesson, man. Like I was in there in the bed, it was killing me. So I want to do a lesson so bad, about things that happened, things that were happening, but I couldn't. I couldn't talk, and I couldn't see, and I couldn't upload nothing with the Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? So I was just stuck in there for like almost 4 months. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't do no lessons. And I felt like crap every day, even though I know the Lord put me in this position, but I still wanted to work, man. I still want to do the work. That's all I got. Without this, without the brotherhood, without how about Shimmy Shah, without this knowledge, this truth and understanding, man. Without this, I have nothing, man. So I really felt like crap. Psalm 44 and 22. Yea, for thy sake are we killed all the day long. And we are, man. We tormented on this side, man. Being in this truth, we tormented, man, because we know better. And that's why I was mentioning the Lord is putting us through this to make us tougher, because for what's coming. The Lord don't want no weak men. The Lord wants us to be hardened. He wants us to be tough. So that's why, the Lord's going to put us through a lot more than what he has been so far. And I've seen brothers been going through it, man. We got to keep going through it. We got to keep enduring until the end, like the scriptures say. We got to keep enduring. Regardless of what is put our way, we got to keep fighting, man. We got to keep moving forward. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Yeah, let's get out into here. Let's get Revelation 3 and 5 out into here. Okay, it says, he that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. So, Lord willing, I'm one of those that overcome when the time comes, man. Lord willing, all the brothers and few sincere sisters overcome as well. Lord willing, we in the book of life, man. And we at the end now. We getting at that time now. They're talking about microchips and all that now. World War III popped off. This dude is talking about he gonna blow up Iran, and he's real reckless right now, man. So we at the end, bro. We definitely at the end. But anyway, I just wanted to bring up my testimony and let those of you that didn't know that I was in the hospital all this time, man, with a severe stroke. So our Lord willing, this testimony was edifying. I want to say shalom to the next one.